Hello and welcome to Founders Amplified, where we spotlight underrepresented founders who are driving innovation and impact across various industries and sectors across the globe. I'm your host, Narayan Kulkarni, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Today's guest is Emeka Ehinze. Emeka lives in Lagos, Nigeria, and he loves to lead teams building extremely ambitious, high-impact moonshots around emerging technologies and/or in emerging markets. And emerging everything is his favorite area to be working in. Currently, Emeka is working on Retail Loop, an AI-powered modern commerce and retail engine for emerging markets, which helps large retailers and chain stores streamline their business operations. He is also supporting the team at FinPower and Cluza as a founding member, since he loves their vision of providing local ecosystems the means to thrive, and is proud to help contribute to their mission. Emeka's trajectory took a defining turn when he earned a coveted spot at the Dream VC Fellowship in London. This transformative experience equipped him with the tools and insights needed to navigate the intricate world of venture capital. Fueled by these learnings, he ventured into the realm of early-stage investments, fostering the growth of promising startups through Africa Angel Academy. However, Emeka's quest for knowledge knew no bounds. His hunger for learning led him to prestigious programs such as the Alibaba Netpreneur Program in China and the Wheeler Institute African Research Counselors Program in the UK. These endeavors not only broadened his horizons, but also honed his skills, positioning him as a frontrunner in Africa's tech ecosystem. Beyond his professional endeavors, Emeka's impact reverberates throughout the African tech community. As a mentor at ADP List and a sought-after speaker at global tech conferences, Emeka tirelessly nurtures the next generation of innovators, imparting wisdom gleaned from his journey. In Emeka's world, success isn't just about accolades. It's about the journey of creating exceptional user experiences, embracing triumphs, and learning from failures. His unwavering commitment to innovation and continuous improvement epitomizes the spirit of Africa's tech revolution. So, now that you know a little bit about Emeka, let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to Founders Amplified, Emeka. Great to have you with us. How are you today?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm also doing great. Again, thanks for being here. And yeah, it's amazing to get a chance to chat with you. So just to start things off, I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey. So could you tell me more about what led you to become a founder and if there was any moment or experience that sparked that decision to go on this path?
Okay. It's been a long journey. Yeah. So for me, started off 2011, when Steve Jobs died, right? I think death of Steve Jobs, I would say, inspired me into going to the world of I would say building businesses, right? I watched his biography, and I said, after the movie, I said, wow, I want to create stuff. Luckily for me, I happened to be a computer science grad. I'm a student, right? So that movie metamorphosed into me building my first startup in school with my fellow classmates, right? And I would say, yeah, it's been a metamorphosis at different stages of my career. Built my first startup in school, was a social media platform for students on campus. It was called Ping Extra. Turned out to fail, also metamorphosed into wanting to get corporate experience, like working for like the corporate sector. After school, I worked for some of the biggest brands, companies in Africa, like Nestle Foods, Nestle Nigeria. I worked at Andela. I worked at Computer Warehouse Group. I worked at Eco Innovation Center. Wanting to get experience firsthand. All of my roles were product driven because I was either product manager, product leader, product ops, or I'd say business solutions architect, sort of, right? All those experiences also metamorphosed into stage 2 of my founding journey. Yeah, so hence I built Retail Loop, so all of those experiences I've gotten metamorphosed into me building Retail Loop.
Wow, it sounds like it's been a really amazing journey from starting your first startup in school to then working in product facing roles and now being the founder of Retail Loop.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds like there's been a lot, but I'm curious, could you share more about if there were any particular aspects of that story, or maybe any aspects of your identity or your experiences that have really given you a unique perspective in what you're trying to do with Retail Loop now?
Yeah. So two experiences shaped my I would say my perspective to building Retail Loop. One was during my internship at Nestle Foods. So that was the first time I saw SAP, that blew my mind away. In my head, I was like, why don't we have stuff like SAP for emerging market? I was 19 years old then. That was 2015. I can't forget, right? I was 19 years old then. So in my head, I was like, why can't we build something like SAP for I would say emerging markets, right? Why do we have to rely on SAP? But the dots did not connect. Falling back to Steve Jobs, my eureka moment with Steve Jobs, right? Learning from Steve Jobs. The dots will somehow connect to the future. Then fast forward to 2018, 2019. I got to work for a startup called Retailer. Retailer was essentially, I would say, an e-commerce and retail startup for informal retailers in emerging markets. So, and then again, having solved for all of those problems, right? The informal segment. I mean, an eureka moment came to the loop, right? The Nestle experience of SAP. I noticed that the formal segments in emerging market lacked, I would say, infrastructure or the tools to grow their business so they can run more sustainably and profitably. Traditionally, like manufacturers, local manufacturers, large brands, and they're all, I would say, complaining of over reliance on SAP and of course the costs and implementation fees. All of those metamorphose into building Retail Loop, right? So the Nestle experience and the retail experience. So I can call me a retail maniac because I've been there. Retailer was I would say cut my teeth there because I was the founding product manager, had to build an engineering team, a growth team, a marketing team, a sales team, but as an employee, right? Not as a founder. And I asked myself, like, I mean, I've done this as an employee, like, as a founding employee. I could do this on my own. Luckily, I had to reach out to my co-founder, Olushola Akinsulere, Mr. Olushola Akinsulere. We were former colleagues also, at Retailer. So it was sort of like a clear pathway. He had also worked in the retail space. I think he worked at ZTE, and he also worked at a company called Field Insights, so all of the whole supply chain in terms of retail, real-time experience, we got it. So it's very, very easy for us to, like, I would say, tinker through product innovation models as regards retail, hence you see Retail Loop metamorphosing into what it is now, the past 2 years.
I see. It makes a lot of sense how your experiences with Nestle, for example, and your subsequent experiences at Retailer have since metamorphosized into Retail Loop.
Yeah.
And could you share a little bit more? Because I heard you sharing about the unique needs of emerging markets, and how Retail Loop really focuses on providing infrastructure solutions for emerging markets. Can you share a little bit more about how your approach is innovative and unique in that context? Or more generally, what is unique or different about the way Retail Loop is solving this problem and serving the market?
Okay. Thank you for that question, right, Marian. So, as regards the pain points of large retailers on the continent, is if you look at the history of enterprise software adoption in emerging markets, right, over the years, you agree with me that 90% of softwares, right, for emerging market. I mean, I think Africa is an afterthought, right, in terms of software, I would say, adoption, right? Because I don't think the big boys like the market leaders build for our own situations because we somehow lack the of infrastructure. Sometimes the technology, the literacy levels are not there. So those metamorphosed also into right we build retail loop, right? So traditionally, large brands in the emerging market experience, I would say, theft, inefficiencies, in their business operations, and of course, this affects their margins. And if you look at the macros are very, very evident. So you have the local economy in Africa charging in the local currency, like their businesses is being done in local currency. And of course, the inflationary figures are quite high on this side of the world, and you're telling an African business owner to pay for softwares around in dollars, right? I mean, how do you want our business to survive? You don't build economics that way, right? Or I mean, economics don't grow like in that manner, right? So hence the reason why we built Retail Loop, right? Because these existing softwares are very, very expensive. One. Number two, they are very, very, very complex to use. I don't know if you've used SAP before. Right.
I have.
Also, I don't know if you've tried out Odo before. Odo is very, 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 I won't say complex to use, but for you to use an Odo software or Odo platform, it's used majorly in Europe. I mean, I'm familiar with Odo in Europe, right? You need to have a Python developer, or a software engineer to help you customize your modules to fit your particular business use case. But
So I have used SAP and I can attest to how complex it is. I have not used Odo, but I can attest to what you're also saying, that it requires really specialized programming skill, and
yeah,
it like can be really, really challenging to go ahead and customize in that way.
sure. So hence the reason we built it. So all these, I would say, data points influenced our decision, right? So to build retail loop. Remember I talked about the dots when I was at Nestle, right? How I saw SAP in real time. I'm always happy when I see SAP, right? Because I mean, for you to build such kind of softwares, right, over time, so I would say streamline large business operations, it's a lot of work, right? But I mean, software is evolving, and the world is changing, right? So we need to change with it, right? And we need to, I would say, be vertical in our innovation when it comes to markets. What works in America wouldn't work in Africa. It's the reality because of the cultural perspectives to it, because of the, I would say, behavioral or psychographical perspectives to it also, right? So yeah, every market has its own unique, I would say, want and needs. Yeah. So what we've built is something native to emerging markets. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. So I appreciate hearing that, especially it sounds like there's the simplification, there's the cost, those two things you mentioned in great detail, and I appreciate your explanation on those. But something you just mentioned were there's a cultural element and a psychographic element that Retail Loop considers in how it's built for emerging markets. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Okay, so yeah, let's give an example, right? Uh, in Africa, most large businesses use manual ways of doing business. They write on, like, imagine you managing your inventory on Excel. I mean, the advanced ones even use Excel, right? The macros on Excel to do some sort of like, I would say inventory management. Some use pencil and biro to write the inventory, right? But these guys are, I would say, making money off of this, right? But there's an issue of theft. And as they grow bigger, right, they want to see all those business operations in real time. Hence the need for Retail Loop, right? You see, there's a cultural side to it now, But then again, they are asking a question around what's the switching costs for them, right? So for the ones that have existing softwares or using Excel, right, they sort of like understand, okay, what's your price points are. You know what I mean by price points? Like, is it fair? Is it flexible for me? Can I customize to my needs, to my business needs? You see, right? So sort of like such scenarios are peculiar to the culture here.
Right.
Nigerians don't like paying for stuff, or I mean, Africans generally don't like paying for stuff, right? So you need to build a model. What we've done is we've built a model that, right, allows us to be flexible in terms of payment, in terms of their business needs and wants. Over time, certain things you learn firsthand, right? And of course, trying to, I would say, listening to them, and listening to them sometimes takes a lot of time. From prospecting these customers, scheduling demos, right, to them making the first point of payment. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way it works. So those are the cultural elements to it, right? That's even for the western part of the country. Now, if you go to other regions of Nigeria, for example, or other African countries, like, the northern part of Nigeria, it's different. They have a cultural element to it also, right? So you understand what I'm saying? So these are quite different because the way we behave in the West, right? The western part of the country is different from the way the northern part behaves, right? In terms of religion and beliefs and stuff, right? So you need to do some sort of like customer education in real time, you understand? So you don't mess up with people's ideologies, right? People's ideologies are sacred to them. You don't go and tell them, this is this, this is that, right? So you must respect people for who they are, irrespective of where they come from. This is what we're doing with Retail Loop, right? Yeah.
Makes sense. Appreciate your perspective on that. And it sounds like with what you're doing, you're making there are lots of different ways in which you are contributing to businesses and enabling them to impact the world. Could you tell me a little bit more about the impacts that you're seeing with Retail Loop making right now, and potentially in the future with how it's helping businesses and how it's helping businesses serve their customers?
Yeah. So as of today, we currently have over 1,000 plus businesses on our platform, on our merchant side. And also on the manufacturer side, we have 25 plus manufacturers that we've really leverage our platform. And this goes across different segments, from logistics to automobiles, right? Like I told you, we're like SAP for Africa. So automobiles, right? To payments, to financial solutions, right? To retail, e-commerce, and so on. So what we've helped them, I would say, reduce their, I would say, over reliance, or I would say capex. Let me use the word capex, operational expenditure, right? They don't have to burn a lot of money, paying for some of these more advanced softwares, right? That they don't even need some of these features, so, and also they don't have to pay a lot of money paying software engineers or consultants. I mean, with us, we've cut all those I would say O's for them, right? Just sign up, right? Provide you a dashboard and you do your stuff real time. If you want more customizations, reach out to us. We understand your want and needs. And of course, we customize for you real time also, provide you flexible payment plans, and we're good, So it's for us, we want to see, like I was telling my co-founder yesterday, or I always say this anytime I travel. I know some already big businesses may not use our platform at the moment. We are building the companies of the future, right? We want to see small brands grow into big brands. We want to be the ones backing them, right? And of course, I know eventually the big boys will catch up and eventually tilt towards us, But yeah, this thing takes time. I told you about switching costs, right? But yeah, over time to metamorphose to come to the forefront, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's been a sweet journey for us. A lot of I would say investments going into our sales pipeline, right? Customer acquisition, and of course, I would say generally the team, and of course expansion. Yeah. So it's I mean exciting times ahead. Been a roller coaster journey for us. Every day we wake up, I and my co-founders are always doing something concerning Retail Loop. It's inspiring, just today alone, I mean, we've communicated that I and my CTO have communicated up to 10 times, right? In less than 12 hours. So it's something we do every day of our lives, yeah. I mean, it's what it is. Yeah.
Very cool. So it's cool to hear that you have retailers, manufacturers, many different segments. I'm also curious where geographically are these retailers, manufacturers located?
So at the moment, so we have a spread across Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya. We're looking at making inroads into Sierra Leone, and also I would say the US and MENA regions, right? Especially Europe, right? Western markets. But that will be another product entirely for them because of their literacy levels and when it comes to digital tech adoption. That's a secret now. That product is not yet out. It's an AI agent as a service platform, but for those European markets, it's another of our product line that's not yet public. But yeah, it's something to just keep your fingers crossed on.
Okay, very cool. Something you just mentioned, and something which I'm also more curious about is I know that you all use AI creatively in your work. Can you tell us more about how you're using AI uniquely in what Retail Loop does?
Yeah, so we have a lot of AI use cases. Our AI use cases are not like I would say linear, because they're unique to every of I would say the sector we work for because we're enterprise, right? We're modern
Mhm.
ERP. So you have automobile use cases, you have retail use cases. About just give you some heads up on how we use AI, right? So currently for retail use cases, we use our merchandise use cases, we use AI to do demand forecasting, for our retail use cases. For our automobile like sectors use AI in terms of predictive analysis, right? As regards spare parts, as regards spare parts and diagnosis, right? Diagnosis in real time of vehicles or some of the cars that those automobile companies leverage, right? For also our SaaS product, we use AI in terms of like a chatbot widget, right? To know, say, you want to know how many orders was sold in a day, right? You want to know how many products you have in your inventory. You will chat with the widget in real time, provides you all those use cases, right? Response in real time, you know. It keeps evolving over time, right? Yeah, so that's what we use AI for depending on your use case, right? It's peculiar to your industry, your segment, right? Yeah.
Indeed. And it sounds like you have not only done a lot already, but you also said there are a lot of exciting times ahead. What are some
Yeah.
things, if you don't mind me sharing, that you're most excited about with the future of Retail Loop?
Yeah. We're gonna be. It's our vision, right? It's well written by me, So in the next 5 years, Retail Loop is going to be the number one provider of enterprise commerce tools on the continent. There's a clear pathway
Mhm.
towards that, right? In terms of our stack. We're building for the automotive, the logistics sector, automobile sector, retail sector, e-commerce sector, finance sector, and so on. In the next 5 years, we're going to be the number one provider of enterprise commerce to in this region. We're expanding to Europe, Western markets, in the coming months, Finland specifically, as a beachhead into other European markets. Yeah. And our US also is in the loop, right? And MENA, looking at MENA, we're talking to a lot of people. I mean, expansion does not happen in a day, right? The past 7 months, I've traveled to like 7 different countries, just understand psychologies of how these markets are. I just came back from Amsterdam less than 2 weeks ago, right? I'm going to Qatar next week. Just understand the psychology of retailers in this market, spot opportunities, and of course, yeah, so where this leads to, yeah. I'll also be in Jitex Germany if you'll be around in Germany, right? So I'll just grab some coffee, So yeah, exciting times ahead, Narayan.
Wonderful. It's cool to hear that you, as you've just shared, there's a plan to not only ensure that Retail Loop is like nicely serving your current markets well, but also expanding to other geographies. That's
Yeah.
amazing. It also sounds like you've had a lot of experiences both with Retail Loop, but also prior to that. And so I'm curious, what are some lessons that you've learned that you wish you had known before you had started your journey in entrepreneurship?
So blessings, I mean, I would say I had skin in the game before I got into entrepreneurship, right? So some lessons I've learned is, you see, like a lessons for upcoming entrepreneurs, or my lessons, or some things I think I need to share to upcoming entrepreneurs, or I mean, trying to understand the question, because for
So
me, I told you,
when I say lessons, yeah, it could be because there are upcoming entrepreneurs listening to this, but there are also people who want to say know more about the the work you do, etc. So like based on your journey, like what could you offer to people who like want to know about the space, want to become entrepreneurs,
yeah, you want to
founders?
become an entrepreneur, you need to understand the problem first. That's the first thing I tell people. Understand the magnitude of the problem you want to solve. Then ask yourself a question: do I have the required competencies to solve this problem? You know. Thirdly would be, do I have the right resources and network to pull this off? Right. Lastly would be, do I have the mental fortitude or the grit to persevere during those tumultuous times? Right? Yeah, like I told you, the roller coaster is not like a sweet ride. Some days you cry, some days you lose out on some deals, some days employees tell you, sorry, we're not doing it again. You have to hire. You waste 2 months trying to hire to replace somebody in a team. Some days your co-founders tell you some things you don't like. How do you handle that? You don't try to be emotional. Some days things go slow, sometimes things go high. It's not something to be, I mean, like I said, it's a roller coaster. But yeah, enjoy the ride. Wherever it leads you to, right? Enjoy it, make it count, enjoy every moment. Let also key important thing is always leverage every opportunity you have to talk about your product, to sell your product, milk every opportunity you have. Don't feel too big, right? I know sometimes founders I would say um get frustrated by some, I would say, some of the like industries they are in, based on realities of ground, or I would say founders and investor relationships. Don't feel too bad. You figure it out by and by. The world is your oyster. What you do with it, it's up to you. Yeah. So that's the way I see it. I'm very chilled. I mean, I don't take anything too personal. I take every day at a time. But yeah, I mean, founders should build competencies, because it will be very not nice to be ridiculed by people, right? So the competencies will speak for you real time. Yeah.
Well said. So how can people find you and how can people support your work?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Emeka Ehinze on LinkedIn. I think on Twitter, just on LinkedIn is fine. Shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Then also supporting our work is try out Retail Loop today. Sign up and use the platform. Give us your feedbacks. It's retailloop.co. Yeah, currently live in this countries I mentioned: Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Rwanda. So sign up, use it, give us your feedback, shoot us emails. I mean, we're open, right? Refer us, recommend us to customers. I mean, yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. Now it's time for our signature question. So could you please fill in the blank? I amplify.
I amplify. Okay, come
Yeah, so
again.
you just fill in the blank with that. So I amplify and then please go ahead.
So I'm looking for the right word to use. Like, I amplify what, so I just fill it in. Like, is it
Yes.
like on retail loop side or generally?
However you'd like to answer the question. It could be from your perspective, from retailer's perspective. It is your answer.
Okay, so it's gonna go both ways.
Okay.
Uh, I, Emeka Ehinze, I amplify an African dream, right, or an African vision for local retailers or local manufacturers on the continent. right? To be able to run their businesses in a very efficient and sustainable manner, right? Then on my own personal side is I amplify grit, perseverance. I'm a fighter, and I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer and a visionary. That's me in a nutshell, man.
Amazing. Well said, Emeka. Again, thanks so much for sharing your journey and your insights with us today. It was so cool to hear about the work you're doing with Retail Loop, how it's innovative, and the impacts that it enables, as well as just hearing about a little bit more about your journey and your perspectives. And so, I mean, we have connected numerous times prior to today. And I think when I reflect on what we've talked about today, as well as what I know about you and everything, I just want to appreciate and honor. I mean, you've talked about this. I love your passion for and your passion and grit as an entrepreneur. I find that very impressive, and your vision and your steps to take that, but also how you ground that with intention and serving like emerging markets. I find your ability to balance that very, very inspiring and very, very amazing. And I want to celebrate that. And I just want to say that, like, I find that inspiring, and I know that those who are listening will also find that inspiring. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you so much, Narayan. My pleasure.
Again, I really appreciate your time today, Emeka. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting again soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Founders Amplified. I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am. If you'd like to learn more about our guests and support them, check out the show notes for their details. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating, share it with someone you know, and follow us for more inspiring episodes like this one. If you're a founder who is driving innovation and impact in any industry or sector anywhere in the world and would like to be a guest, we'd love to hear from you. Check out the show notes for more information. And finally, remember that you, yes, you, have the power to amplify the voices around you. Whether you're a colleague, family member, friend, funder, mentor, or just another fellow human, your support matters. So I invite you to celebrate and uplift the underrepresented innovators in your life who are driving innovation and impact. Let's create a better future for everyone, together. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep amplifying.